In this video, my friend, you will witness the 3 scariest and real night shift horror stories you can ever face. For those who don't know me, I'm ABLUKA. I share the creepy stories I've seen and heard. If you've also experienced scary things like this, tell me everything through the email in the description. Don't be afraid. I'll choose a name for you, and no one will know who you are. For these terrifying true stories, go to a room like mine, make your coffee, and subscribe to the channel. Let's begin.
I work the night shift at a gas station. It's a small place near the highway. Nights are usually quiet. Honestly, kind of boring. I tidy the shelves, wipe the coffee machine, check my phone. Not much happens. But that night was different. It was just past 4 a.m. I remember clearly. I looked at the clock above the register. No one was inside. Just the hum of the fluorescent lights and the soft buzz of the cooler. I was halfway through a stale sandwich when someone walked in. No car. He just came out of the dark. Late 40s, wearing a dirty coat. His pants were soaked at the bottom. His eyes were blood red. Not tired, just red like fire. He smelled like alcohol. I could feel it even from behind the counter. He didn't say anything at first. Just stared at the coffee machine. Like it owed him something. "Hey," I said, trying to stay calm. "You okay?" He looked at me, then pointed at the coffee. "Can I have one?" "Sure," I said. "It's $1.50. He checked his pockets, then shrugged. "I don't have money." I hesitated. "It's just coffee." And he looked rough. I felt uneasy, but also kind of sorry for him. "All right," I said. "It's on me." He didn't thank me. Just grunted and poured himself a cup. Took a sip, then spat it back into the cup. "What is this crap?" he muttered. I said nothing. Just watched him. He walked over to the snack shelf. Grabbed some chips, smelled them, then threw them back. One hit the floor and burst open. "Sir," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Please leave." He turned to me slowly. His eyes were glassy, but something sharp was inside. Like anger. "You gave me bad coffee," he said. "You think I'm stupid?" I didn't answer. I reached for the phone under the counter. Right then, he grabbed a soda bottle and threw it at the glass door. It shattered. The alarm didn't go off. It's always broken. He started knocking over shelves, smashing jars, ripping open candy, and throwing it at the walls. I panicked, ran to the back, and locked myself in the bathroom. My hands were shaking as I called the police. "What's your emergency?" "There's a man in the store," I whispered. "He's destroying everything. Seems drunk." "I'm locked in the bathroom." "Stay where you are," the dispatcher said. "Help is on the way." I sat on the toilet lid, trying not to breathe too loud. I heard shouting outside. Glass breaking. Something heavy hitting the floor. I imagined him finding the bathroom door, kicking it in, dragging me out. I checked the lock 3 times. Minutes felt like hours. Then everything went quiet. That silence was worse than the noise. Had he left, or was he right outside the door? Then sirens. Seconds later, shouting. Boots. A struggle. Then silence again. A knock on the bathroom door. "Sir? Police. You can come out now." I opened the door slowly. The store was wrecked. Shelves knocked over, coffee spilled everywhere, candy stuck to the floor. The man was on the ground, handcuffed, lying face down. One of the officers looked at me. "You're lucky," he said. "Why?" I asked. That guy wasn't just drunk. He was wanted. Assault, theft, even attempted murder. Been running for months. I just stood there. Didn't know what to say. He looked normal. Just tired, angry. Wanted coffee. But he could have killed me. I didn't finish my shift that night. Stayed outside until sunrise. My manager came early and told me to go home. I didn't argue. I still work there. Sometimes people walk in through the front door and just ask for coffee.
Now, we'll witness what happened to a night guard working at a school. I'll call him Donald. Imagine hearing a loud fight in the middle of the night.
I'm Donald, and I'll never forget what happened that night in the school cafeteria. I work as a night security guard at a public school. For years, I've sat in the same booth, watching the same hallways through the same cameras, surrounded by the same silence. From the outside, the night shift looks calm. But inside that silence, sometimes things happen that never leave your mind. That night started like any other. Around 3 a.m., I checked the cameras, did my rounds, and returned to the booth. Everything was normal. The cafeteria was dark, classrooms empty, wind tapping on the windows. As it got closer to 5, I waited for the bread delivery guy, just like every morning. He always came at the same time, dropped off the bread, and left quietly. Never broke the routine. But that night, someone different showed up. A car pulled up to the back gate. The headlights stayed on. The engine was still running. The windows were foggy. Even from the booth, I could smell strong alcohol coming from inside, sharp and sickening. 2 people got out. One looked like the bread guy, but I didn't recognize him. The other was a young boy, maybe his assistant. But there was tension between them. They started arguing as soon as they stepped out. Lots of hand gestures, shouting, but I couldn't hear anything from the booth. I just watched their body language. The boy was angry. The man looked drunk, stumbling as he walked. I felt uneasy. Normally, I don't get involved in personal fights. I'm a security guard, but this wasn't my business. I just waited for them to drop off the bread and leave. The cameras were recording. They went inside. The cafeteria lights came on. They kept arguing between the shelves. The boy said something, the man replied. Then the boy suddenly shouted and slammed his fist on the counter. The man stepped back. And then something happened. The boy reached into his pocket. Suddenly, there was a knife in his hand. Small but sharp. I couldn't believe my eyes. The camera wasn't clear, but it was obviously a knife. The man said something, maybe an apology, maybe a threat, I don't know. But the boy stepped forward and slashed the man's hand. Blood poured out. He stumbled back, hit the counter, and fell to the floor. I froze in the booth. Didn't grab the radio. Didn't pick up the phone. I just watched. My heart was pounding. The boy was yelling. The man was groaning in pain. Then the boy suddenly grabbed him by the arm and dragged him outside. They got in the car and drove away. It all happened in just a few minutes, but it felt like hours. The cafeteria lights stayed on. The counter was covered in blood, but no one was there. Silence returned. The wind hit the windows again. But now that sound felt different, colder, more threatening. I didn't call the police. I don't know why. Maybe I was scared. Maybe I didn't want things to get worse. Maybe I was afraid they'd come back. I just saved the footage. Didn't tell the principal. Didn't tell anyone. I kept that night inside me. But those images, those moments, they're still in my head. Who was that boy? Why was he so angry? What did the bread guy do to deserve that? I don't know. But I do know one thing. Something broke in that cafeteria that night. Not just glass. My sense of safety, my trust in silence, the routine of the night shift, all shattered. I never saw those men again. The next day, someone else brought the bread. Quietly dropped it off and left. Everything went back to normal. But I didn't. Now, every morning at 5, my eyes are on the cafeteria. I watch every car closely. Every sound makes me jump. Because I know, sometimes the most ordinary jobs turn into the scariest memories. I'm Donald. And that night, I screamed the quietest scream of my life.
Finding these stories can be really hard sometimes. Now, let's listen to Francis. Well, I call him Francis. When I first heard this story, I didn't believe it was real. But he was very serious and said it truly happened to him.
I'm Francis. I work the night shift as an operator at a software security center. My job is to monitor systems, detect abnormal data flows, and report possible threats. Nights are usually quiet. Just the glow of monitors, the click of the keyboard, and the occasional system alert. But that night, the system was quiet. I wasn't. 3:48 a.m. A red alert popped up on my screen, entry log, card number unknown. I rubbed my eyes. Maybe it was a system glitch. But no, the door reader had clearly detected a physical card. It just wasn't registered in the system. The center's entrance door had opened automatically. I switched to the camera feed. Nothing. The door had opened, yes. But no one entered. The hallway was empty. A chill ran through me. Maybe someone moved too fast? Maybe the camera froze? But the feed was live. And there was no movement. I checked the motion sensors. They had been triggered one by one down the hallway. Like someone was walking, but invisible. Is anyone in the center? I asked over the radio. No response. At this hour, I was supposed to be alone. I stood up. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. I stepped into the hallway. Silence. Just the hum of the server room fans. I walked slowly. With each step, the sensor lights blinked. Like someone was walking ahead of me. But I was alone. The server room door was open. It's usually locked. I looked inside. Screens were on. One terminal was active. But no one was there. I approached the screen. White text on a black background. Access granted. User unknown. My fingers trembled. This system was closed to outside access. Only internal staff cards worked. I stepped back. The sensor behind me lit up. I turned. No one. I was alone in the server room. But it didn't feel that way. This system was supposed to be secure. Internal only. But now, someone was inside. And the system didn't recognize them. I moved closer to the screen. My fingers were soaked in sweat. The terminal seemed frozen, but the screen was still active. Like someone was typing remotely. Suddenly the screen went black. Then a new line appeared. We are watching. I stepped back. My heart raced. Who was we? Was this a joke? A test? We sometimes run system drills, but this felt different. I grabbed the radio. Control center, this is Francis. Initiate emergency protocol. Unauthorized access in the server room. No response. I checked the radio again. Frequency was correct. But silence. I stepped into the hallway. The motion sensors were still triggering. Like someone was walking ahead. But the cameras still showed empty halls. Just silence. But sensors don't lie. I headed to the main control room. The door was open. It's usually locked. Inside, the monitors were on, but the screens were dark. Only one was lit. In the center, the school's entrance gate. And someone was standing there. The image wasn't clear. Just a silhouette. No face. No movement. Just standing. But the system didn't recognize them. No face ID, no card scan, no thermal trace, nothing. A message appeared at the bottom of the screen. Access granted. ID, none. That's when I understood. This wasn't a person. Or at least not someone the system could understand. A sound came from behind me. Soft. Like breathing. I turned. No one. But the air had changed. It was colder. Like static in the air. My skin crawled. The control room systems started shutting down on their own. Monitors went dark one by one. Lights flickered. The radio hissed. Then a whisper. You're not registered either. I froze. That voice, it wasn't from the room. Not from the radio. It was inside my head. I stepped into the hallway. Sensors still blinking, but now randomly, like someone was running. Or more than one. But the cameras still showed nothing. I ran to the emergency exit. The door was locked. I scanned my card. No response. According to the system, I didn't exist. I pulled the door. It wouldn't open. The radio was dead. My phone had no signal. The center had rejected me. Then I heard footsteps behind me. Clear. Slow. Steady. Getting closer. I turned. Empty hallway. But the sound kept coming. Closer. Lights flickered. Sensors blinked. But no one was there. The lights went out. The terminal shut down. Silence fell. I don't know what happened in the center that night. But when the morning shift arrived, they couldn't find me. No records. Camera footage erased. My card was invalid. My name didn't exist in the system. But I'm still here. In the server room. Waiting quietly. Because I know one day it'll be 3:48 again. And the system will open once more.
No comment. I just hope it was something like a cyber attack, my friend. I don't want to think otherwise. I was frozen when I first heard it. Anyway, folks, we've reached the end of an amazing video. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. If you've experienced scary things like this, tell me everything through the email in the description. Don't worry, I'll choose a name for you, and no one will know who you are. Take good care of yourselves.